welcome to the new meta, episode 81.
Flawless start as always.
Pretty good. I am your host, ThaPChild, joined with
The actual host, Lord Fluffy.
the co-host. Okay, but
I should really change out. Hang on, roll 2 seconds. Here we go.
Oh, nice.
Go ahead and change this out real quick.
Why is that so small?
I don't know, because one of your other backgrounds is small, I guess. Here we go. ThaPChild streaming live from a hospital room.
Nice.
So you guys didn't know.
Yeah, I'm still at the hospital. Yeah. So about the hospital. So last night at like 7 o'clock, I text Fluff. I'm like, I'm going to the ER, man. No pod tonight. Fluff was like, what? How dare you? So no, it was weird, man. I had like a couple days after Christmas, I started getting these weird headaches when I would stand up, and like really crazy pressure headaches, ear pressure, eye pressure, and a little dizziness. And so I went to the doctor, and the doctor was just like, oh, you'll be fine. Just give it a couple days, it'll heal up. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I wait a couple days, and it doesn't really heal up. And then it starts to get a little better. So I hesitate to go spend more money for him to tell me to wait longer, And then last night, man, about 7 o'clock, like the entire right half of my body went numb. Like it felt like, if you go to the dentist and they give you a shot and like your mouth's numb, it was like that on only the right half of my body. And
it's a fucking stroke, dude. That's like a mini stroke.
That's like a stroke, right? And so I'm laying in bed, and my wife had just left to go to the grocery store. And so I'm home with two of my kids, one with her. And I'm sitting there like in my bedroom. I'm like, what the fuck? So I start to stand off. I start to stand up, and it's like I'm like, I'm almost falling over. I can't even hardly hold my phone to text. So I called my wife, and I'm like, I think you should maybe come home. And just my shit's numb. And she's like, what are you saying? She couldn't even understand me.
Oh shit, so your speech was slurred too?
Yeah.
Fucking stroke, dude.
I don't think my speech was slurred. I think half my mouth wasn't working. So it's like, And then so she comes home, and it went away after about 10 minutes, and I was perfectly normal. I'm just like it never happened.
Oh, for you.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. And so she's like, we're going to the hospital. And I was like, okay, let's just slow down. Let's go to the emergency room and see what they say. So I go to the emergency room, and they're like, those are stroke symptoms, dude. Go to the ER, And so I'm like, okay. And then so I drove down to the ER, and they gave me a CAT scan, and CAT scan was like good. They're like, so what they said is they're like, you have fluid behind your eyes. There's like some cavities behind your eyes, and I had fluid there and like in my sinuses. And so that pressure was giving me the headaches and shit. And the neurologist couldn't explain the numbness shit. He had no idea. He's like, it doesn't even make sense because your mouth is like up here in your brain, and then your left arm is like back here on the left side of your brain. And then, so it's like, if it was something in your head, it would have not gone in a straight line down your body like that. So he's like, if it happens again, let us know. And I'm like, thanks, man.
That's great.
But no, he seems to think that it was just like a pinched nerve in my neck or something. I don't know.
What?
That's what he's saying.
Dude.
He doesn't have an explanation for it, but I don't know.
When you said that, the reason I'm like, don't stroke, because I see you DM me, I was like, don't stroke out on me, dude, because that's literally like pound for pound the same story. Like my ex-girlfriend, her grandmother was like, she was at the track meet with them, and like the whole left side of her body went numb, and then she was like, well, I'm fine, I just need to sit down, and then she fucking like didn't go get help right away and like stroked out, and then like was just brain dead for 5 years after that. And then died.
I think I probably wouldn't have gone to the ER had I not had this other shit going on for like almost 2 weeks now. But when you mix those two together, I'm like, something is fucked up. I need to go to the hospital. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it's cool. It gives me peace of mind though. Sure. I'm not like wigged out anymore about it, because I was starting to get nervous because this other shit's going on so long. Yeah. So, and then I got a solution for that too. But fired my doctor though. I'm like, fuck this guy, man.
Yeah.
I literally found a new doctor today, because I'm like, this guy, I went in and saw him originally, and I even asked him, I'm like, can I get some kind of like amoxicillin, penicillin, some Cillin that would treat a sinus infection because I'm Google researching this shit, and people are like, it's a sinus infection. And my doctor's like, no, it's not that. And then the doctor at the ER was like, we're just gonna give you what you would normally treat a sinus infection with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, motherfucker, like I just had to spend $800 for an MRI, when if he would have given me that shit 2 weeks ago, it probably wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So, and I even asked, and he's like, no, you just can't take it. I'm like, okay, dude. So anyways, let's talk about some video games.
Yeah. Well, so I went to China. That's why we missed last week. And I'm not going to talk about the whole trip, but one of the things, I went to China back in 2014. And I wasn't a streamer back then. And, Diablo Immortal wasn't like kind of on the back of my brain back then. But this time, like I really noticed. So I was on the subway a lot. That's how you get around Shanghai. And like literally everyone, and I'm talking like old ladies, I'm talking little kids, I'm talking, dudes our age, all of them, they're all sitting on the subway and they're all playing a mobile game. All of them. Not even the old ladies. Even the old fucking ladies. And it's so prevalent that you see like on inside the subway, there's just ads playing nonstop for mobile games. When you drive, when you're in the subway and it's like, going from stop to stop, they actually have, I don't know how they do it, but I guess it's like a whole bunch of maybe TVs that they show like one slide. And so like as you're going, like there's advertisement when you look out the window, those were mobile games. Like it's
everything, huh?
It's fucking everything. So
that's crazy, man.
I mean, Diablo Immortal is gonna do very well, I think, over there. Because I saw ARPGs. I saw the whole. They look like Diablo Immortal. They've got the buttons on the right side.
Yeah,
and people were playing them. I saw it. I watched one guy play Hearthstone, and I was like, "Good play." He didn't understand me, but
he probably looked like, "What?"
He was kind of like, "Oh, why are you close to me?" I was like, "Oh, I play." He's like, "I don't understand."
He's like, stupid American. He probably spoke fluent English.
Right.
Like, I'm not this fucking weird. Yeah. I mean, that's got to be the incentive to make Immortal. They're like, hey, this will kill in China, and if we make a couple bucks in the U.S., cool.
Right.
So I just don't think they expected the backlash from it.
Sure. Yeah. Who knows, man?
Interesting. So anything else exciting happened on that trip, or was it pretty?
I mean, it was great. There was a pretty crazy event that happened right when we landed, but that's a big story. Maybe we say that for
we'll say that for a letter at a time.
But
like when we
it's just show. It's classic fluff traveling, basically.
Get locked in a Chinese bathroom this time. So oh, that's funny, man. All right, let's hit up the schedule. So the poll from last week. Let's talk about that.
Sure. So we had Llama on, and that week we asked if you had to copy-paste itemization from any ARPG for Diablo 4, which ARPG do you choose? PoE, Lost Ark, Diablo 3, Diablo 2, and Grim Dawn. I can tell you right now, Llama voted Diablo 2, obviously.
Man.
Yeah. So
I haven't played Grim Dawn enough to know. Like I haven't played it at all. Honestly.
It's good.
So.
Is it good? Yeah, it's definitely good.
And I mean, I hate to say it, but I really don't like Diablo 3s that much anyway either.
Yeah, sure.
So Lost Ark feels a lot of MMO-ish. So if I pick that, everybody's gonna say it's because you play World of Warcraft.
Just pick what you're gonna pick. Don't let the crowd.
No, I know. I don't know, man. I don't really care. I honestly, I find flaws in all of them. So to me, it's like I want something better than everything on the list.
Sure.
But if I had to pick one, I'm gonna shell up and say, I'll say PoE, I guess, but I don't want. There's so many problems with that too.
Do you know itemization in PoE? What do you mean? There's problems with itemization in PoE? Why do you even say that?
The amount of items it throws at you, the amount of stats that seem irrelevant to me, at least, as a new player. I don't like either of those things at all. So
I think the irrelevance is a good thing, whether or not you see it, maybe because you haven't played it enough. But But I definitely, the loot filter, the loot vomit is insane. There's no smart loot whatsoever. They did say in PoE 2 it's going to be smarter. So like
smarter-ish loot.
Yeah. I don't know what that means really in the realm of PoE, but that's what they said. Okay. But anyways, yeah. So, I mean, I would say PoE, Grim Dawn's very good as well. They suffer from the loot vomit, but they've also got loot filters built. But they have loot filters built into the game, which is good. You do not have to like download anything. You can make it inside the game. So that's like a one-up that they would have.
Yeah.
I do like Diablo 2's itemization better than Diablo 3. I like Lost Ark definitely better than Diablo. Diablo 3 honestly is not the worst one on this list for itemization.
I don't know Grim Dawn, but I agree between the 4 I've played.
Yeah.
I kind of like Lost Arks a little bit, but I haven't played enough of their end game to really like, say that's my vote.
And it's hard because like it's in Korean/Russian, so you don't really fully grasp it because it's like, well, this seems good. This makes my damage go up.
Kick better or something.
Yeah.
Be English translated.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll vote PoE. Let's see how it goes. Diablo 2. Oh, the llama people. 31% of the vote. Grim Dawn actually got 23% of the vote. Diablo 3 got 22% of the vote. What the? PoE got 21% of the vote, and Lost Ark got 4%. I assume Lost Ark got 4 because nobody's played
it, right? Yeah, that's got to be it.
Diablo 3. People actually like Diablo 3's itemization.
I wish we could make people play Lost Ark just to feel the combat. I wish I could just be like, press a button and then they have to play it.
Right.
You know, like here, play this. It's amazing. Someday it'll come out to US. I hope. I really hope. Like really soon. Because if it doesn't beat PoE 2 or Diablo 4, it's dead.
Yeah.
Before it even comes.
You know, there's some news. It's not on the schedule, but there's actually some news. So they've been making some like grounds towards coming to NA, right? So like they've been looking to hire people, but someone did like a breakdown. If you like break down how much time it took from the start of deciding, okay, they're coming to Russia, and then all the time it took to localize, get Russian voice actors and all the translations proper, it would not make it before Diablo 4 if they did like started tomorrow. So that sucks big time.
Yeah, that does. I feel like if D4 comes out, it's dead on arrival. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure people will play it, you know, but it won't be the massive success it would be if it wasn't out.
It might, if like Diablo 4 is a huge flop, it could still win that PvP audience probably.
I think PoE and Diablo 4 would have to be a huge flop.
Well, we know PoE won't be a flop. Like PoE can't be a flop. It's the same game. If it was
just PoE, I think it could get a little traction, but not. I don't think crazy.
Yeah, I think
if it dropped today, right now, it would be like, oh shit! It would top. I think it'd be like the top game on Twitch in the directory for a couple of days.
At least,
people, I think people would go crazy on it.
Yeah.
So,
but I also think that the PvP would hard carry for a long time to come. I don't know that even Diablo 4 PvP could probably compete with Lost Ark PvP, but we'll see.
I gave that feedback when I was there. I told them, I was like, have any of you guys tried Lost Ark? To some devs, and they were like, no, I haven't. I mean, I've seen it, we've checked it out, but I haven't actually played it. And I'm like, do it. It's like, it's good. Just play it, man. Yeah. So, and then you'll see how different that combat can actually be, and it might give you some ideas for shit.
True. There's only like one person that I had talked to at BlizzCon that worked for Blizzard that had even heard of Lost Ark.
There was one person that had or hadn't?
Had. Like the other people had just like hadn't even heard of it. I was like, wow, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah. The question, and we're going to get more in depth into this, so maybe hold off on your vote until we get to this section. But the question we're asking for next week is item durability. Should Diablo 4 have it? Yes or no? But maybe just wait a minute.
Are you strong on a side? That's all I'm going to ask. Are you strong on a side?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you strong on a side? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope we rival because I want to tear you apart. Like I did Llama.
You've been practicing while I'm in the hospital getting CAT scans.
And you know what? Just out of my own curiosity, I did a bonus poll this week. I didn't tell you about this. Okay, so we'll let you guys vote on this. So the question is, after P-Child's imminent death, who shall take over as the trusty sidekick of the new Meta podcast? Quinn69, Bloodshed, Wyatt Chang, DatMods, Beantown Matthew, that's the Diablo 3 producer, Mr. Llama, or Riker. So.
Replacing me already? Damn, dude.
Well, I mean, you're going to be dead, so. Soon.
Oh, okay.
Very soon.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say to that. That kind of hurts my feelings.
But yeah, vote on that, guys. But yeah, in other news, if you guys didn't know, the Darkening of Tristram is happening right now in Diablo 3. It's that little role-playing, immersive, bad graphics.
Before. What's it about?
You know, it's the same every year.
Mm.
I wish they would at least do, like, maybe you could get a couple new achievements or something every year. Something that would make it worthwhile. Because people are like, oh, have you tried it? I haven't seen you play it yet. I'm like, well, I played it the first time and nothing's changed. Like,
yeah, I didn't really even enjoy it much the first time. I think it's really cool they did it. And I think a lot of people do enjoy it. And the first time I did it, it was like, okay, it was cool. I went through the tower once, or the down to the hell once, whichever way you're going, up or down. I can't remember. Down, I would assume. But it was like, okay, I was ready for it to be over after, like, how many levels were there? 20? Something like that?
Was it that much? Oh, yeah, like
level.
level 1 through 20. Okay, I thought you meant, like, you could go 20 levels into the dungeon.
I think you can't you?
I have no idea.
Like 20
I don't even remember.
It was long as hell, and I'm just like, is this almost over? Like, fuck, man. And then to do the achievement, you had to kill, like, every boss on every level. You had to find them and kill them. And I remember going back and doing that, and like, okay, I'm good on this for life. Thank you. But, you know, it's all right.
Every time I see the Darkening of Tristram, every time I see set dungeons, every time I see the challenge rift, I can't help but think to myself, like, man, what if this time had gone towards something that was like end game content, something that was like replayable?
Mm-hmm.
You know, challenge rift, I think, were supposed to be. They just flopped big time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just Darkening Tristram, like, good for you, but like, wow, we could have really used something to do in the end game instead of this.
Yeah. Just think about, like, they nailed it so hard with rifts and greater rifts.
Yeah. Great base game.
It's basically carried the game for like 5 years on one single solitary end game activity.
Yeah.
I don't have an idea that's that strong. That's like, yo, you could do this for 6 years with nothing else to support it.
Sure.
But I would love to have at least, like, so the real end game, we have regular rifts, greater rifts. If those are even two separate things, I kind of think them as the same.
Yeah.
And then bounties. And it's like, that's really it. So it's like, what are you going to do when you log in?
Mm-hmm.
Rifts. Okay. So what kind is the difference is, like, am I going to do speed metas? Am I going to push? Like, that's really the choices you get. So if there were just any other in-game activity, I think it would be pretty huge. Cool. You know?
Yeah.
So
and you got to wonder, like, would we be,
some ideas to us, guys.
Yeah. Would we be so annoyed by bounties if we had, say, like, for the last 6 seasons, gotten some new endgame activity that would, like, stack, you know? Like, so say we had, like, you know, the 10 things to do like you do in PoE in the endgame. Mm-hmm. Would we be, would bounties be, like, so bad? I don't know.
I don't know either. It'd be, yeah. I would say it would be a nice break, but I could take a break from rifting now to give them to them, and I still don't, you know? So.
But you got people in your stream that give them, you know what I mean? You do, like, giveaways and stuff. So it's a little different.
I would be required to do them.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
saying? You have to do them.
And that's not fun. He's like, fuck, I gotta go do this.
Yeah,
I literally have to go do this.
That's true.
You know? So I don't think anybody likes it.
I will say that, like, PoE, like, you get enough, like, soul fight, and you're like, okay, now I get to go delve, right? Like, now it's not something that's like, fuck, now I have enough soul fight, I got to go delve, right?
My thing is, like, I would really love to re-roll this neck, but I only have enough mats. I'm going to not spend them on this because I don't want to go farm them there. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And it should be like, oh, shit, yeah, I got enough mats, man. Let me go re-roll this. Not like, fuck, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Or, I finally got this legendary neck. That's what I need. That's, like, best in slot for me, but this one sucks. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to go run bounties because that's how I re-rolled this necklace, because that's what I really need.
This is all, like, really pointing at D4 because it's too late for D3.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, there's not enough the money and development and things like that to really, I don't think ever get a new in-game activity. But when D4 hits, man, if it's like go do dungeons, like dungeons are rift replacements, and it's like, oh, but you could add modifiers to it, and then like that's pretty much it. I'm gonna be like, well, that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I hate to just sit here and like be like, oh, Diablo 4, a mega lol. But I don't know. I will say
they're gonna copy the Rift idea. What do you think?
Sure. But here's what I'm trying to get at. So what I'm trying to get at is it could very well blow all of us away. It's like still in the realm of possibility. Yeah.
I hope. Yeah.
Like they're sharing some things with us. There is a possibility, there's a lot they're not, and they could really innovate the space, or they could just do Diablo 3.5.
I've never heard anybody's in-game activity idea that was like, oh shit, that's amazing though.
Right. Yeah.
I've seen like loot ideas that I like a lot, and like, items to add to the game and special powers and abilities and seasonal themes. Heard all those things. They're like, yo, that's really good. I've never heard anybody say an in-game activity to me where I was like, dude, if they don't do that shit, like they need to do that.
Right.
Never heard it. So if you have one, you think you have one, do leave it in the comments on YouTube or, tweet it at us or something. So we'll get exposure to your idea.
The key dungeon was definitely not that. It was like super basic mapping from PoE.
Yeah. And I'm just like, And the dungeons were okay, but it wasn't, it didn't feel in game to me. That felt like leveling.
Yeah, I agree. Well, maybe because we were leveling, but yeah.
Yeah, it felt to me like it was like a dungeon in WoW as you're leveling. It wasn't hard difficulty,
True.
I don't know. But even if it was difficult, that still doesn't make it much better, I don't feel like. So
yeah.
Probably make it less enjoyable, honestly.
True.
Also, I don't even know what we were talking about originally. The Darkening Tristram is what got us there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the bands went out, but
apparently there's some people slid through the cracks, I guess.
Yeah, I've literally had people come in my stream.
So
you found something?
It's this Reddit post of this guy. He just like records the screen, and there's this bard that keeps like porting,
going back and forth,
like over and over, and just sits there and watches them forever. If you guys can't see, but it's funny.
I caught one just like this one time. He was stuck doing bounties, and there was like go on a certain level and kill something, and he kept just running back and forth. And I stood there for like 45 minutes. This was when I very first started streaming. I literally streamed him for 45 minutes, clipped it, tweeted it at Blizz. I don't know if he got in trouble or not. But
probably not.
It was forever. Like 45 minutes I just sat there like talking to this guy.
Right.
Watching him run. There were people that come in my stream and they said that they slipped through the cracks. And I was like, damn, it's unfortunate, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was really hoping this was going to be not just a leaderboard. Hey, let's look at leaderboard and
I moved up 5 spots.
Spot check. Right. Yeah. And I don't even think leaderboard got purged. Honestly, it doesn't feel like, because I've checked guys on there and they're still at like 22 hours a day, every day. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. There can't be 15 of these guys out in the world doing this,
Sure. Yeah. It was definitely underwhelming considering all the shit talking they've done, basically, where they're like, oh, their time's coming.
Yeah.
I didn't really expect like just a teeny tiny bandwave.
I'm expecting more, honestly. Like, I hope, I
had expected them to have figured something out, basically.
Yeah. But maybe this is just,
the
a first phase. This is like, okay, we're gonna clean up leaderboards a little bit and make some people happy, and we're gonna not show all our cards. I don't know, man. I wish if they have cards to show, now's the time to show them, because everybody's leaving. It feels like, man, this is. In all honesty, I didn't play last season much, but I will say that this season seems to have hit a wall and then just instantly dropped. My community just instantly was like, everybody's like, I'm not playing anymore. And I got a handful of people that are still going pretty strong, but it just feels to me like this season dropped pretty hard. So I don't know, man.
I mean, it goes back to that psychology we talked about, where like people are like, "Oh, people are doing 150s now solo. What's the point?" Even though they're never gonna reach that point.
Yeah.
The fact that they like see people reach that point like kills it for them, which is really interesting, like psychologically. But I mean, it's a thing. It's obviously a thing.
Mm. Yeah, it's something.
Yeah. Plus
Or just maybe the game's just been too much of the same for a long time. Like season 12 juiced me back up pretty hard, and so 12, 13 were like so much fun to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then even with the seasonal themes, it's still fun, but it's not hitting the same heights that I got in 12. It was that Necro. I don't know, man.
Season 11 was Necro. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it was like it got totally retooled, and I haven't really played.
True.
You know, the new
season 12 was the first season of Blightspear, and honestly, like, I almost wish I'd never discovered Blightspear because it makes everything else really boring. So like playing the new Crusader set this season was like, it was cool, like playing a new build, but at the end of the day, like, it just didn't thrill me. It doesn't thrill me like, you know, some of the Necro builds do, especially Blightspear. And so it's like, damn it. Like, I always like feel a little bored.
The stutter step stuff has to go too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just nervous it's gonna be underwhelming once it's gone, because it literally like doubles or triples the attack speed.
Yeah,
it's pretty insane, pretty broken. So.
But yeah, you know, also the timing of the PoE League, like, they really need to figure something out where they're not starting their season like 2 weeks before the PoE League starts, because it's just killing all progress, it seems.
Or
like
2 weeks after.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So.
This was an interesting post that was on the official forums. Basically, this guy said we need more time for PTR testing, and so Matt, again, going ham, going wicked hard on the forum, says that the next PTR will be at least 2 weeks. So that's interesting. That's cool. Good news. Yeah. The 1 week definitely was enough, especially for new sets. I think that's.
I think hopefully, they should split it though. I don't think they need. They don't need 2 weeks straight. So you guys are out there listening. Like, do a week, get the feedback, make some changes, give us another week at it. You know.
Yeah, I definitely think they need 3 iterations of PTR to really get it right. Like, you're gonna have it overtuned or undertuned first, and then you're gonna change it, and you're gonna overhit it or undershoot it, and then that third time is really, I think, what's gonna bring it down. So.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
It'd be cool. I don't want it to release too soon though, and you play PTR for the rest of the season. You know.
Yeah.
3 weeks of PTR is a lot of your season. You know.
Sure. Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
Do you think? No, I don't think Blizzard could do it. Here's the thing I was about to ask. I was like, you know, like PoE, it's the first month of every league. You're basically playing PTR. Basically. And they make changes.
Make tuning changes.
But the thing is like, they never change power. So if they undershoot something, if they overshoot something, they're not going to change it after the league starts, because that would mess with like the competition aspect, like the racing and the delving.
Well, then what would be the point in Diablo if you don't change power?
I mean, I guess that discovery of like figuring out what the best builds are. I don't know.
Oh, so you're saying no PTR and then just like balance really quick? Would you be okay if they wipe leaderboards a weekend? Like,
no. I'm saying just hit it. Like, go with it. Whatever you like. Imagine PTR phase 1 would have been what it was, right? So the PTR from last season, where we first got the monk set, and it was dog shit. And
everybody be smashing 150s on Seder, man. Oh shit. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at this point,
no, original Crusader wasn't that good.
The first PTR of it?
Yeah, the first PTR was bad because.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Because it wasn't Holy Shotgun yet.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
It's an idea. At this point, I just want stuff to keep me interested, to keep me playing. You know, I don't care what it is. And like, at power is already, who cares at this point? Like, I don't even care. You know, classes are doing 150 solo, but it's the seasonal theme that's letting people do that right now.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, this seasonal theme was super juicy. Next season, just nerf the shit out of everything. You know.
Yeah.
Like season of no drops, season of famine, season of Paragon cap, season of something. You know what I mean? Give us a shitty season, and I don't know. It'll probably go over pretty poorly.
I don't know. I gotta believe that there's something that, at the very least, there's something you can do, something you can add within a rift that is just going to change the game up just a little bit, even if it's just a tiny little thing. Like
Goblin portals.
No, like a mini objective that you have to do in a greater rift.
Built into the game, though. Like, that's the theme. The theme is like taking assets because I don't think they have the development power to get new assets. So it's like, what assets do we have now that we could use? And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But yeah. So another news. This was kind of something we had talked about and touched on a few weeks ago. Both of us, I think, were big advocates for, like, people are like, where's the new set dungeons for the new classes? And we're both kind of like, that would be gross. That'd be such a waste. And so we have official confirmation that they will not be adding new class set dungeons.
That's fine.
For the
that's a waste.
Yeah.
That was a waste of development power
to begin with.
If they were going to do it, yeah.
To begin with, it was stupid.
If you're going to do that, then don't just spend that money on anything else. Else.
I will say that there's something to the set dungeons, like going into a dungeon and having a very unique list of objectives. Like that's already built into the game. Like you do something with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'd be fun. I don't know what that looks like, but I mean, it's an idea. It's something.
What if they put a bonus in a greater rift?
Yeah.
And it's like your objective is to kill the Rift Guardian in this amount of time. Same old. But then they had some random objectives that would come up, like get a 400 kill streak, or I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I'm sure there's way better stuff out there, or I don't know, man, kill XYZ elites in so many seconds, or I don't know, Let's see what if anybody has ideas on that too in the comments.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't even know if that would make it better though. That might just make it annoying.
Sure.
Like, oh, damn it.
And then we see this, rise up time and time again. But I was thinking to myself, so this guy asks, "Are you gonna do anything to make Blackthorn useful?" And if you think so, at first I was like, well, what could you even do, like cross-class wise? How could you make Blackthorn useful? But then my brain would go to, well, Captains is pretty good now. Guilds is it's not the worst. It's not great, but it's not the worst. But Captains is pretty juicy. Do you think, which led me kind of down the path of, okay, so Blackthorn is drop only. You can't craft it. And Captains is craftable. But you have to farm the juice to do it. Do you think that if they had cross-class sets versus crafted sets, that the crafted sets should be less good than the drops only sets? Or what do you think about that?
Yeah, man, I would think the drop only sets should be a little bit better, because you can't go make them. I mean, you have to farm the plans for Captains, but once you get the plans, you can make infinite, as long as you have mats.
So, I'm kind of on the fence. Because I don't want them to be like, well, this loot was always going to be inferior, because as soon as you get the native thing, it's always going to be better. Because that's kind of dangerous. But you'd have to balance like how hard it is to get the mats and craft it yourself versus like how hard is it to get to natively drop.
I would say anything on the tier of like Captain Crimson's, Ogul's, Blackthorns, all that should be pretty even.
Yeah.
I would think, because as soon as you get one, you can re-roll it though.
True.
So you can spend those same mats to re-roll it.
True.
Or a little bit more mats, but you just got to get that one. So, same playing field,
right?
But it would be cool to see them make that like Captains, where you could do something to, Captains is cooldown is damage and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So
Captain was good.
I don't know.
Captain was a good change.
I don't know. It's super lame, but maybe like attack speed or crit, or I don't know, just give something else that it's just stacking a stat,
right?
It's just stack the shit out of cooldown. So
I don't know,
give us another stat to stack, I guess. You know? So, but it would be better than it is now. At least it might be usable in the first hour or two of the season. I honestly wouldn't mind them slowing the drop rates down a little bit. I think getting fully geared and pushing 100 on the first night of the season is ludicrous.
Agreed.
And I think it devalues the season, because you get so many achievements done on the first night. By the first week, you've done everything you need.
Right.
Like, like, well, all I need now are better rolled ancients.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
and
I
like
think a season of famine might be okay.
Yeah.
Like let's cut the drop rate in half.
it's really the progression, part of the hard carry for Pee-wee, because again, combat in Pee-wee isn't that great. Like it's one shot mechanics. It's you just run around one shot yourself until you get one shot. It's not that good. What hard carries Pee-wee is the depth of a character and how much stuff there is to do, right? And that progression, like that one of the things I see myself like getting obsessed with, and really delving deeper into Pee-wee is that infinite character progression. Like you're never done with your character's gear. You're really not. And whereas in Diablo, most of the time, you're 2-3 weeks into the season and you play pretty hard. Like you're full ancient. Yeah, you could get a primal, but that's not that huge of an upgrade unless it's your weapon. I don't know. But that feeling of progression and then like just dumping a ton of time to that character, it's just like you're just eventually you're just farming main stat, and that feels really bad.
So what's the progression that's different in PoE that makes it so much better? Like what progression is it that keeps you like, oh, this is amazing?
You touched on at the start of the podcast where you're like, I hate in PoE how like you get a whole bunch of stats on items and you're like, well, I don't even know what the stat is. Like that stat's not even useful to me. But it's that, and I'm not saying that this is the best across, ARPGs, but it is that crazy RNG factor where you have like, in PoE it's 3 prefixes, 3 suffixes. The chance of you getting an item that rolled 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes that are good for your character are so incredibly low. And then in the chance that they did, there's still tiers within those prefixes and suffixes of how good they can natively roll. So
okay, so let me just translate that to Diablo 3 terms, see if it matches up.
Yeah.
So you got your primaries and your secondaries, right? And let's say you can roll 3 on each of them. Okay. And then all 3 got to be useful for your class. So basically take off smart loot. Okay. And then, so let's say like I get a Immortal King's breastplate that's supposed to be chest piece for a barb set, and it's got intellect on it. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So that's back to vanilla. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. And then you're saying the tiers, well, that's like normal ancient primal. See what I'm saying?
But it's not. So it's like, okay, so it'd be like in Diablo where you get pestilence and like it rolls like crap stats, or maybe it rolls like strength and your pestilence, like where you're like, what the fuck? I'm a necro. But it's not like you're getting Tal Rasha on the necro. Does that make sense? Like that. Yeah. That's why it would be different in Diablo.
You're getting something usable, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not. That's not what happens in PoE. PoE is just like you get everything. I'm just saying. I'm comparing that, and if you could do that and add a little bit more depth to Diablo, like that's one way you could do it. But it is that you dilute the loot pill like pretty hard because it makes the gear chase harder.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think that chasing, like, let's just say we go back to vanilla WoW and you can, or Diablo, and you can get Immortal King's breastplate that has int or dex or whatever stats, and let's say it could roll. You got Immortal King's breastplate, but instead of getting like Hammer of the Ancients increased damage, let's say it rolled something fucking retarded, like your Frost Orb does more damage, and it's just like, what? I can't even cast Frost Orb. You know what I mean? So that to me doesn't give me more depth or fun. That's just more frustration.
But when you tie it, right? So that's like, say vanilla PoE was like this, like what we're describing right now. And it didn't, put its hooks in me at all because there wasn't that much to do. But at the end of the day, it's that crazy loot chase that we're talking about. Like, so you're excited to do the activities because there's so much to do, and there's that like, man, I get so much loot, but like it's so rare to get that. And then when you get that, finally hit that thing, you're just playing the game because you're like having fun, and you're doing these activities. But then poof, like you finally get something that's like worth hitting or worth crafting on. And again, there's that aspect of crafting as well, where in PoE you can get something that like drops a 3, and you're like, well, those 3 are really good, and I can add to this and make it pretty good for my class. It's not just like this is always going to be bad if it rolled different things or whatever.
Yeah, and I guess part of that is you have to, as I'm looking at it through Diablo eyes, at least Diablo 3 eyes. And part of that is we don't have the end games to support that kind of grind.
Exactly.
Because it's like if the loot was more of a chase than it is right now, and you could get all these random things that are just thrown in the pool. If you had in-game activities that were still fresh and fun to do all the time, you wouldn't really care because you're going to play the activity because it's fun anyways, and you're still going to get the drop maybe. But now it's just like grind greater risk, grind greater risk, grind greater risk. Try to get that piece, and when you don't get it, you're like, "Fuck, I'm sick of greater risks, man. I don't want to do this anymore."
Yeah.
So I could see that. I could maybe see that.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't work in Diablo's setting right now. I think that would be detrimental to the game at this point.
Sure.
But Diablo 4 maybe can go that route. I mean, you know, I look at their itemization, and at first I didn't like it very much. This new blog they put out, and then the more I read it and the more I thought about it, I'm like, maybe, like let's see what they can do. But honestly, I'm not happy with that either. I hope they continue to tweak that a lot.
They need to. It might be.
I hope so. But it's weird, man. You watch some people are like, I love it so much, and then people are like, I hate it. And I'm like, I don't really know because we don't have enough info really. But
but based on the info we have, like literally based on all the facts,
I'm leaning against like I don't like it.
No, it's more simplistic than Diablo Immortal. That's the bottom line, and that's a terrifying statement. But you know, like to go back to the comparison, like so here's one of the things that I've been struggling with lately is like, so Pee-wee hard carries, like I love theory crafting, and you know, it just doesn't happen very often anymore. Like we get those new sets now, and that's like really exciting, and we get that 2-3 weeks of theory crafting that happens with that. But Pee-wee, you're really never done theory crafting, and that's really great. And what used to draw me back to Diablo 3 so hard is that, you know, that combat experience. Like combat in Diablo is better than PoE, like in its core. But then then we played Lost Ark now. But so now we see what combat really could be. And so when I get that itch to scratch for like, ooh, I just want to play like good combat. Like, do I play T3 or do I play some more Lost Ark? And like, I don't know, man. It's tough. And then there's
Lost Ark's good.
Yeah. And then there's like that itch of competition that, you know, still I think the leaderboards do better than any ARPG.
If Lost Ark's ping was good, I haven't PvP'd.
Yeah.
I've watched people PvP.
It looks so good.
And it looks fun, man. I wish that we lived closer so we could get better latency.
Right.
PvP is going to be so huge. It could carry a game. Yeah. I mean, if the PvP is good, it can literally carry a game.
So, I'm pretty sure that's what carries Lost Ark right now in Korea.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that the PvE content is... The PvE content's really good in Lost Ark, but one, there's not enough of it, and two, like it's kind of just a time gate, and three, there's no like rift, you know, like rifts and maps, like it's just kind of like infinite grinding, and you can play. Like PvE doesn't even have that, or not, sorry, Lost Ark doesn't even have that, which is a huge shame because like combat in Lost Ark is so fun to just grind, and there's really nothing to grind on.
They have that Eastern free-to-play model, though, where it's like it's almost like the cell phone style at times. It feels like you get so many tokens a day to use these on your in-game activities.
Right.
And it's like,
but the in-game activities is like you do a daily dungeon in a group, and that doesn't really satiate that, you know, solo combat fun. And you can do dailies. The dailies, honestly, are the only thing that you're like, you grind by yourself, and like grinding by yourself is probably the most fun because combat is like so good. I mean, dungeons are very, very good, but
it's fun to play with people too. It just sucks when you're winding up that big hit and then somebody comes in and knocks them back.
Right. Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck.
You could do that in the D4 demo though. The boulder from the druid, like that happened a lot when we were playing together. Like one of us had casted boulder. Like
I specifically tried to pin something against a wall and like see what the boulder would do to it if it would just keep hitting it, you know?
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
Right.
I think it did do its ticks on it, but then it blew up.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah.
But anyway, so I think we beat this into the ground.
Sure.
So
now, to get into the heart of what we kind of touched on earlier. So the poll for this week, again, if you guys missed it, is item durability. Should it have? Should Diablo have it? D4. And so before we kind of get into details, what are your first impressions when I ask you that question?
I have my initial feeling of
Okay.
what I want. So, are we talking about it? Or are we waiting until next week?
No, we're talking about it now. We're talking about it now.
Okay. Okay. So my initial reaction is no. I think it's silly and I don't like it. But every game has it,
Okay.
and it's supposed to be a gold sink, and it's supposed to be a punishment from dying.
Yeah.
Or for not returning to town and taking care of your equipment. And I understand it. And so let's say Diablo 3. If you keep dying in a rift over and over and over, what happens? You have to portal out to repair your gear or you're just fucked, right? So because you can't do damage anymore. So it's a punishment in that sense. And that's okay. And I understand that. The gold sink is ludicrous. I can go make 2 trillion gold in like 15 minutes. And then it costs me 150 to repair my gear or something silly. It's like, so that portion is completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be there? I think it will be there. I can't. Every game has it. I think does Lost Ark have it? I can't remember. I don't think it does. But every other game I can even think.
Yeah,
of
Lost Ark has it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I expect it to be there. But I don't. If they ask me, I would say no. Nah, don't put it in.
Yeah.
If they do, I get it though. I'm like, okay.
So from what we saw in the demo, there isn't. It's not on there. There's no durability as far as we saw on the items.
We couldn't hit shop vendors, unfortunately, though. So. Yeah.
But there was nothing on the item, like usually that you see like a blank out of blank durability if it exists on an item, and there wasn't that stat. But so I thought about this, and immediately my jerk reaction was just like you, where it's just like, well, no, like because I'm looking at it through the lens of Diablo 3, and Diablo 3's durability is pointless. It's actually pointless. Like even to the end of like, well, if you die X amount of times in a greater, if you have to leave and repair, like even that is stupid because it serves no purpose. It doesn't like you have enough gold to just go repair and come back. Like it's stupid.
Your death timer adds up enough that should be your punishment for dying.
Right.
But
But then I go back and I remember the days of Diablo 3 vanilla, like very early Diablo 3 vanilla, and you would like have your best gear on. And then to say you died several times, you wouldn't have enough money to repair everything.
Yep.
And that was a pretty good system.
Fast, though, man. You like that?
Well, yeah, because like if you're like constantly bashing your face into something that's killing you, like, well, that should be the game telling you like you're not ready for this yet. Yeah. And if you continue to do it, you should be like, and you continue to die, there should be repercussions to that. And I think that it's kind of like there was a study where it's like they put these like people in front of games that like never had played games before, and they realized that like the game wasn't showing like Super Mario, like you just learn things, right? Like it's very like in your face, whereas like some of these other games, like someone played like some zombie game and like they just like the game was telling them to do the wrong things. And I feel like that's kind of the same thing we're talking about here. Like, well, just go Zerg into the boss and eventually they'll kill him and then you get the loot. And then like
there's getting better at the game.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I don't remember the circumstances that led up to it, but I do remember in vanilla, I was already max level and I was grinding something, but I did run out of gold and I couldn't repair all my gear. And I was thinking like, this sucks. Like now I have to go down levels to farm for like a long time to get enough, because it's a lower level, to get enough gold to repair. And it wasted like 20-30 minutes.
That's good. That's part of the gameplay experience. Like
I wish I could remember what set that up. I remember going to the vendor. I can still remember what fucking vendor it was. It was in Act 4. And I was in town right there, and I went to him, and it's like I clicked repair, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm out of gold.
Sure.
So maybe I spent a lot of it on potions, because you had to buy potions back then. I don't remember if they were expensive or not, but I don't know, man. I see the point to that. I see the point to making them get better at the game. I think there might be other ways to achieve that that aren't as punishing, because you got to realize to get people into the game and to make an economy. Hopefully, you're going to get newer players that maybe aren't ARPG experienced and things like that. And so at a normal difficulty or a lower difficulty, if they're dying and can't repair, that's bad. So maybe the normal difficulty is a starter or some kind of thing where like if you keep grinding that, you're not going to get what you want. You're not going to get the loot.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a lot of gold, but you won't die.
Well, that's
But
what
if you start
Diablo
cranking-
3 vanilla was. Like, you could go back
wasn't
down
the
to
normal
normal.
difficulty pretty hard back in the day,
Like,
comparatively?
as a
like
brand
now?
new character, sure.
Yeah.
But, like, if it had been done correctly, then, yeah, you just step down. It'd be like doing it now, right? Like, you'd step down the fucking hard as a level 70 character, and you just, you sleep through it, and everything dies. And then you can get the gold you need. Okay, I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to go back to farming Torment 1.
Yeah,
I think
I just wouldn't
smarter.
want to see a game that it completely excluded the casuals too. But I see the system. I see the point.
Yeah.
If it wasn't in the game though, I wouldn't care. I think there are other ways you could handle that and knock that out. And not.
Well, what would you think about, say, this system where you die, and then you lose durability? If you die multiple times, you might not have enough money to repair. Versus losing XP when you die.
Man, I don't know, dude. I'd rather have durability. I don't know. See, XP loss is entertaining. That's like a semi-hardcore, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because your character progression is going backwards for sure. I don't know. I like both ideas, but then I put my casual hat on, and I'm like, man, that sucks.
Take that casual hat off.
So, well, for me, I really wouldn't. The XP penalty, I think, would be entertaining. It would definitely make me want to be more alert and play better. So I like it, but I sit there and I look at all the other, just think about how many people come in your stream and they're like, oh, I didn't have any idea how to do this or do that.
Right.
And it's like, man, if they took XP loss every time, if it was significant at all, maybe they put levels on it. Like, let's say once you hit max level, you start taking Paragon penalty, but no experience penalty up to that or something. Like, sure, man.
Yeah. Okay, but you're totally right. Like, at the end of the day, you're totally right. And, like, for the casuals, that's not maybe it's not the best gameplay experience. But then, I don't know, you think about these games that, like Diablo 2, Path of Exile, where they very clearly, like, they're not trying to cater towards that audience, but they're still, like, very successful, and they become, like, these staples. So at the end of the day, like, do you cater more towards, like, bringing more and more players to your game, or do you cater more towards those players that are gonna, like, stick around and spend money? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think that if you're trying to cater the casuals, 100% the game will fail.
Yeah,
I don't think it will make it at all or be fun. So you can't do that. And if you only cater to that hardcore, then you're going to be somewhere like PoE. I can't tell you how many people have been like, man, I want to get into PoE. It's just too much. It's just too complicated. Dude, I hear that shit all the time, and I don't even play PoE.
Yeah, I hear it every day.
I know you got to hear it every day. So I don't know, man. Like, you got to find that happy medium that doesn't exist. You got to find that unicorn.
Honestly, you said it best. I can't remember the exact wording, but you said, like, it's, like, far more dangerous to make your game too shallow than it is to make it, like, too deep. Yeah. That should be their motto, instead of easy to master or whatever it is. Easy to understand, difficult to master. Take that off the wall and put up ThaPChild's. It's way more dangerous. Yeah, that's what they need to do.
If they make it, if D4 is more casual than Diablo 3, they have royally fucked up.
Yeah,
and the game will not be successful.
And that's what it looks like. Right now, that's what it looks like. If people are asking for our feedback, and that's my feedback, it is 100% going the wrong way. It's going more casual, and you just can't. Diablo 3 is already insanely casual.
And that would be okay if they had back end to support it. If they open the floodgates, let's just say a year from now, they're like, okay, and we're like so casual looking. They're like, check this out, and like, boom, you get all this at endgame. Then we're like, oh shit. But I think if they casualify it, it's gonna be bad, man. I don't, because casual, and just by theory, casual players are casual. They're not gonna stick with it very long. They're gonna maybe hit max level. And then they're going to go, well, I beat the game next, and then Diablo 4 is sitting here with no players. So
you got to think about, too, and I wonder how much this really impacts games, or if this is just me being absolutely cooked. But, like, so say Diablo 4 comes out, and it's very, very casual. It does pretty decent with that casual audience. But, like, streamers, hardcore players, not that into it. and so it dies on Twitch pretty fast. You got to think maybe that factors into like a game's continued success, because if a lot of players are streaming on Twitch, I don't think a lot of people are going to be watching it and like even know that that's a game is a thing. I don't know. So that continued exposure goes down.
Yeah, and maybe I'm with you because we're streamers.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, but,
exactly.
But to me, Twitch is a barometer to a game's popularity.
Sure.
It really is, because if let's say let's dig way down the directory. I don't know. Let's say Breath of the Wild was still #1 on the directory. That means crazy people are still playing Breath of the Wild, and we should go check it out. We should like people would stream it because people were interested in seeing it. You know, but if nobody's watching it, that means that many people can't be interested in the game still. I mean, that doesn't mean nobody's interested in the game. Don't take it like I'm saying nobody plays. Like, that's fine. Like, what game do you have there? 16 viewers or something? There you go. Warhammer 2. I just saw that on the list.
Yeah. We're still going down. You know, Jesus Christ.
I like Divinity, you know. So like some of these games have like 10 viewers. Well, you're telling me if millions of people are playing, why would it only have 10 views on Twitch? There's got to be more than 10 people interested in this game if there's millions of players, you know? So,
I mean, I will tell you, before, like back in the day where I was discovering Twitch, I would honestly, like, and I'm sure you did the exact same thing. I would like load up Twitch before I even started watching streamers that much. I would load up Twitch like probably a few times a week and be like, okay, what's in the top 4 rows? Like, what game is that? I've never heard of this game.
Yeah.
Is this look cool? And like, I wouldn't go past that. Yeah.
I still do it now. Like Escape from Tarkov. Like, I've heard of it. It's been around for a couple years, and I've you know, dabbled in watching a little bit, but it's the top of the directory for like a week now. I'm like, well, what did they must have did something good, because you had like every big streamer was streaming it, man. XQC, Doc, like, I mean, all these dudes that are just massive have been playing this game. Now, Tarkov is still, what is that at right now? It's still crazy. So I'm like, isn't it? I can't really say that.
Oh yeah, you're right. 89.7.
Yeah, okay. It's still doing pretty well. But it's like, if they did something, then
must have.
Let me go check it out.
Right.
You know. But my thing would be the game that I was interested in at the moment when I first discovered Twitch. It was, what game was I into right then, and then go to that directory and then start clicking on people and seeing like, who did I like, you know, and then I'd find people I like and start watching them, you know.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would do that. So if a game's super popular, or at least millions and millions of people are playing it, they're going to say, oh, let's see who's playing my favorite game on Twitch. And then if it's 15 people watching it, it can't, you know, I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, man.
But maybe we're self-centered streamers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would love some like really neutral statistics on something like that.
I know. And I think people that probably watch our podcast are probably Twitch viewers. So they probably would, I think, share that opinion, but maybe not.
But yeah, and so we're just kind of like jumping from topic to topic because there's just a ton of stuff to cover. This is something I keep seeing pop up, and we've talked super briefly about it in the past, and I was curious if you even noticed it. I know we probably did, but so in Diablo 4 in the demo, and this is something that I've heard people gripe over and over and over about, but basically every time you'd hit a mob in Diablo 4 on the demo, it would flash a color of like yellow/gold to like let you know you had hit the mob. And I didn't, honestly, when I was playing it, it wasn't even, I knew it was there, but it wasn't something I really noticed, or that
did not even pay attention to it at all. I actually, when I started seeing all this stuff, I actually went back and watched some demo footage just to see it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what it looks like. It doesn't bother me whatsoever.
Yeah. So. But it's been like, I keep hearing people talk about it. Yeah.
Perfect
you see example.
I don't care. That doesn't bother me whatsoever.
Yeah.
But if it does, like, so here's what the thing is. The thing is, people are asking for an option to turn it off.
Right.
Okay.
That should be given.
That's fine.
Sure.
Yeah. Who cares? Because why would I care if it's an option? I can turn mine on. You can turn yours off. Boom.
Right.
Or if mine's turned off by default, I don't care. I don't think it matters to me either way. But I do like having that confirmation of it hit something. And and what really makes me wonder now is if you area attack, does everything that you hit in the area attack light up too? Because then at least well, at least I'm hitting
that's
these guys.
useful, right? Yeah.
To me, it's feedback. It's information I want to have.
True.
So, like, what's let's say you got a 10-yard radius on Whirlwind. If shit flashes when you hit it, exactly where that radius is at. And when in Diablo 3 right now, you guess a lot of times. You're like, well, I think this is 20 yards. I don't know.
Sure. People say, there's confirmation sound. Well, I mean, you're whirlwinding in the middle of mobs. You can tell from every single time you spin, like, I hit 7 mobs.
Can't no way. If you hit the mob next to you or the one that's like way out at the edge.
Yeah.
Rewind that just for a second.
Sure.
He looks like he Hammer of the Ancients, that whole group. Right. I think it was right there. Okay. Yeah. That's good. Let's see if that Hammer of the Ancients lights up multiple mobs.
I think it did.
Yeah. I think it did right there. He looked like he did a shot or something.
Yeah, it lit them all up.
Yeah, so that's cool. I don't have a problem with it.
No, I don't either.
Your take's the same, right? Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just something I've heard time and time again. And I'm just
people just like to complain about stuff. I don't think it's a bad suggestion to turn it off. Maybe makes somebody lose their mind.
I mean, that's true. Like, how many things did Llama talk about last week where I was like, wow, like that's the first time I've heard someone complain about that. Like, the inventory space or the flash on hit. Like, I'd never.
So the inventory thing, I've had this argument before we even had Llama stream. I talked about kind of the exact same thing. To me, I don't even remember what got me started on it in stream one day, but I said something about what the fuck does it matter in your inventory? Like, the game is fantasy, and people are like, it's so much. Somebody was saying the same thing that he was saying, kind of. They're like, immersion. It's so much more realistic. Yeah. It's more immersion. If the weapons take up the exact amount of space as their model and all this and that. And I'm like, dude, you're a barbarian spinning in circles at 100 miles an hour for like 45 minutes. Like, if we're talking immersion, your eardrums would have blown up by now and you'd fall over dead. So it's like, it's fantasy. It's not realistic. I don't understand like wanting your inventory to be realistic, but then your character can like jump through the fucking ceiling,
Sure. I can definitely see, like, when he said it and he was explaining it, I'm like, okay, like, I get it. Like,
I don't know what Diablo 2's look like, because he was saying Diablo 2 does a better job, right?
Well, it's like PoE. Like, you pick up a two-hander, it takes up like 8 slots. No, it's not the same. Or you can pick up a ring, it takes up 1 slot, right? Like,
so instead of having 1 and 2, he wants like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like, it can just be
like a whole different bunch of sizes, basically. And then you have to play like inventory.
It's still
Tetris, right?
Yeah.
Now here's my thing.
Tetris is stupid.
I don't care. At the end of the day, I don't care. It is kind of a nuisance to play inventory Tetris. But honestly, if they did a survey and they're like, "Do you want it?" and like 90% of people said, like, "Yes, we want it," I'd be like, "Sure, I don't care. Fine, do it."
Yeah, I don't care either. Inventory no game has ever nailed inventory management. So like, Division does a list style, where it's like you pick a slot and then you just have a list of all the things you can throw in that slot. That makes it like fluid as that sounds. It's really not, because everything looks the exact same and it's hard to visually pick out what you want. So you're reading names, and like that makes it a lot harder. Things with icons that let you recognize a picture very quickly, I think, work the best for me. But what game has done better than inventory Tetris?
I have no idea. I can't. I mean, there's nothing that jumps out at me, so therefore I would think nothing.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, wait a minute. Lost Ark. You have auto sort. You've got like automatically break down stuff. It's a button.
You've got like, it tells you when shit's an upgrade, like really big on the screen.
Right.
Because their stats aren't the same either, though. True. Their stats are like, when you get a piece, it's like, it's an upgrade. And I think, are they random rolled? I think their pieces are set. I don't think they're like ranges of roll.
I think they're range, yeah.
Are they? Yeah. I think in the leveling, like the dungeon things, like it told me straight up, like, you're gonna get a weapon that's this attack if you do this dungeon. And I did the dungeon and I got that exact weapon, like to the T. So maybe endgame it has random rolls on it. I don't know. So
but watching this
system was okay
gameplay,
but
like the graphics look so fucking good. But like all I see is Diablo 3 when I look at this. Like, there's just so much Diablo 3. There's no new exciting skills. That's what like really makes me cringe. But man, it looks so good. The engine looks so fucking good.
It does. It looks way better in person too.
I know.
Than it does on these.
It really does.
These streams. And I think they had us playing on 1080p monitors too. So when I got on like this 1440 or something, it looked good. Looked real good. So. Yeah, like again, that's a minor nuisance to me. I don't really care.
I just keep hearing it.
We're going to figure out the system.
Right.
I will say that Division 2's loot system was one of the shittiest ones I've ever seen for as clean and streamlined as it looked. It was horrible to use. That they actually redesigned it not too long ago. They're like, yeah, we tried to fix it and it's better. But so I mean, it does matter some is the point of that.
Right. But. Sure. And then finally, I want to talk about, so there was this complaint, right? And it's a complaint that we've seen, and a complaint that I feel like I would have agreed with once upon a time, where implementation of cooldowns like sucks. Like waiting on skills, it sucks. Cooldowns, they suck. But then I played Lost Ark.
Yeah, they don't suck.
And it completely... I mean, I feel like we talk about this week after week, and we probably just beat this into the ground. But like,
yeah,
I didn't know a game could have cooldowns and be as fluid and good as combat is in Lost Ark. Yeah,
it was like the thing isn't the cooldown. Like cooldowns are a huge way it works, but all their systems mesh so well. The cooldowns, animation cast times, getting locked into animations, not getting locked into some animations. Like just the way that they designed at least melee. I haven't played caster yet, but
sure.
But I played what would be the equivalent of like a big two-hand sword wielding warrior / barbarian guy, right? And like you would run up and you'd do like this swipe attack that was like a 180 cone, and that would knock everybody in the air and they'd hit the ground. So then now everything's on the ground stunned, and then you have this big wind-up ability,
right.
And you'd hit that, and it takes your character like 2 seconds to swing this big-ass sword over. But when you connect with it, it is so satisfying, right. And this huge damage numbers pop up. But it's all cooldown based. So like my swipe attack has like an 8-second cooldown, and the big sword attack has like a 23-second cooldown. So it's not like you can just continuously do that the whole time. Yeah. But you had what do you get? 6 abilities, 7 abilities, 6 abilities, 8
plus.
So you have these 8 abilities that you're sitting there using, and you're just, by the time you're through all 8 of them, it's like, oh, let's start over. You know, like some of them are coming off cooldown.
Yeah.
And it's
plus there's that risk versus reward as well. So like you do that big like frontal thing and maybe you knock guys down, but then there's like that one guy on your side that you didn't hit. Do you still go for that big attack? Can you afford to tank that one guy hitting on you? Is he going to hit you too hard? Like, so there's that constant like risk versus reward, and it's
like
just
if
good.
You don't know boss mechanics, you set up for your big 2-hand attack, and then as soon as you do that at the same time, he shoots a animation that tells you he's about to kill everything in this area,
right?
And you're stuck in that attack, like you're not getting out of it. So it's like, well, I'm dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's good.
I don't know, man. It's fun. It's just really fun. So
and I still really love.
Disappointed when Diablo 4 felt like D3. If I'm being 100% honest, I was like, damn, dude, I really wish this would have had some Lost Ark feel to it.
I really love the idea too of like, okay, so you fight the boss, and the boss has like their mechanics, and they have telegraphed attacks, and like maybe on the surface that's not that crazy, right? Like, so you could memorize what a boss does over time, and et cetera, et cetera. I think Lost Ark did a pretty good job of like dynamically, like the skills he would cast in unison or whatever, like maybe that could fuck you and it'd be harder to dodge like dynamically. But what makes it even more cool is the ads. Like, so like trash in Lost Ark, it's like, well, it's not really meant to be challenging, but if you're not careful, it can overwhelm you and fucking like wreck you. And so you have to like manage the trash plus dodge all the boss mechanics. And I think that's really what makes the bosses in Lost Ark just like so great.
Yeah, it's still like, even I mean, I don't have crazy time in Lost Ark, but even at the end when I played it, and let's say I had 40 hours in or something, it was still fun to kill anything I saw on my screen. I'd be running somewhere and I'd be like, I'm gonna go fuck this guy real quick, hold on, you know. And you just wind that when you hit that big ass 2-second attack, you're winding up for days, and then it's just like smash. You're like, yep, you got one shot.
Yep.
So
it's funny because like I was leveling like my 4th or 5th character in Lost Ark, And I was like, I wonder how long it takes. And so like I looked up like how long does it take like some of the, like the the big boy racers or like levelers to like, and it's like it said like 6 hours, and it took me like 5 days to finish the campaign because like I'm literally fighting everything that I see and being so inefficient because I'm having so much fun killing.
Yeah,
and I think that says a lot.
Yeah,
like I'm even willing to sacrifice my efficiency just to kill because I'm having that much fun killing.
Yeah, and it's the thing is that's I can understand people wanting a darker, more Diablo-ish style art to it and story and things like that for Lost Ark. But man, it would be so cool to. I hope it comes out before Diablo so people can experience it ahead of time and just be like, oh, that's what these guys have been talking about for the year and a half.
But at the end of the day, I wanted to bring this up because we see this topic, and again, I would have agreed with it a year and a half ago. I would have totally agreed with this.
Yeah, and I think Lost Ark does a really good job of really short cooldowns typically for all 8 of your abilities. But then you have this one massive ass cooldown that you get back from killing enemies and time a little bit too. But you do still have that 10-minute, 15-minute cooldown.
Sure.
And when you pop it, man, it's insane. Like you're going ham. Yeah. So it's fun. But I'm with you 100%. I would have said the exact same thing, like not cooldowns.
Right. But yeah. And then this thing. Okay, first of all, this fucking rat on Reddit posts BlizzCon at BlizzCon, Blizzard announced quarterly updates starting in 2020, and he goes, well, we're still waiting. Okay, first of all, dude, they've announced like they've already come out with 2 pretty big juicy like blogs.
Right.
But surprisingly enough, Brandy replies to it.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
Been like, I just want to ban his ass.
I know. I just been like, okay, never listen to this guy. But yeah, it basically comes on and says like, confirms that like we've actually got a lot more to come. The new year just started, and these posts aren't like super simple things to push out. But the TLDR, we're gonna get a lot more, and we're not gonna just see nothing until like Q2, right? Like, which is what everyone was afraid of. Like, well, we already saw all the juice for this quarter, so we have to wait until March to see other things. I hope that they keep. I know that it's been the holidays the past like 2-3 weeks, and I get that, but I hope that they keep that pace because it felt like we were getting stuff somewhat regularly. Like it's like a week, 2-week pace, just like little news, little juicy news. Even if it's something that's not like this is gameplay or whatever. Like if you show us like a concept art, like once every week or once every 2 weeks, like that, I'm fucking down with that. As long as it's not the shit we saw at BlizzCon already. Like it's just like show me some like.
They can't leak story either, though. You know what I mean?
True. But like concept art doesn't have to be story. It could be like this is the zone. This is
or like why is this hunter in the game that hasn't been anywhere but on this art gallery?
Sure. What if they did that? Like what if they instead of being like, okay, like we saw the skills that they showed us in the demo, and I think that again they just showed us that to get feedback. But what if they just like once a week they showed us like the one skill that they were like went back to the drawing board on, and like we could give feedback on like the one skill. There's not a ton of content there, but that's so juicy, really. Yeah,
and it might help them too.
Yeah,
I guess they got to have somebody sift through that content every week and go through shit posts of like, oh, this sucks. You know what I mean? It's like, thanks, man.
Yeah. I guess there is that. Like you have to have enough manpower to scour what people say about it.
Should be able to have enough manpower. I would hope.
You would think. I hope like there's more community people than just Brandy for Diablo 4.
Yeah, they did. When I did the Blizzard campus tour, they showed me the building that D4 was. It's an entire building, from what I was told.
Yeah.
And it was huge. I mean, so it looked like they had juice because I walked through some of the other ones, and I was like, damn, if they got a whole building like this, just dedicated, they got some peeps in there. It didn't work. So, yeah, I mean, I don't. We had Thanksgiving, we had Christmas. People burn a lot of vacation. I did. I burned 10 days of vacation.
Did you go anywhere?
No, I just stayed home with the family, but. They told you got to realize traveling with 6 people, how expensive that is. But they told me I was gonna they implemented a new policy where I was gonna lose it. I could only carry over 5 days, and I have tons of vacation stacked up.
Is this the new management people doing that?
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm like, well, fuck it, man. Here we go. Christmas break for me, you know.
Yeah.
And then I got sick during it too. So
fuck. Couldn't even grind games, bro. Oh my god.
Couldn't even do it, man.
That sucks.
So yeah.
But
Speaking of which, my birthday's tomorrow.
Oh really?
Yeah, man.
Very nice. Congratulations.
I'm gonna be 34.
Wow. That's so not true. See, I turned 22 this year, so that makes you carry the 50.
Damn.
I don't know, man.
It doesn't add up. Nice one of the podcast. I'm not going to say mean things.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Moving on. Just a little touch on the PoEs. Okay. So I'm going crazy on the PoE. But I am fully fledged, not in control, addicted to PoE right now.
Okay.
Probably more than I've ever been.
Sounds like a total lie. You're super addicted.
Yeah. I am completely addicted. This patch honestly has been it's been full of bugs, and there's some definitely quality of life stuff they could do with the new Atlas, and there's just a bunch of one-shot mechanics with Metamorph. But they come out with a big patch today that they're talking about, they're gonna add a recipe for the Metamorph stuff. So before you wouldn't be able to get so you need an eyeball, and you need a liver, a lung, a brain, and something else, a heart, to craft a Metamorph boss.
Yeah.
To fight. But you would never get an eyeball ever. And there's just no, you just have to wait. You pile all these livers, and there's nothing you could do. You're just finally you would hit an eyeball, and you're like, fuck yeah, and then you can go fight one, right?
Yeah.
But they're adding a vendor recipe where you can just trade 3 livers, and you get a random other body part, which was pretty pog.
Cool.
And they're changing the Awakener fight. I don't know if you saw my clip on Twitter, but I spawned the Awakener, and I spawned him on the stairs, and I didn't, because I've been trying to fight the Awakener without spoiling the fight, just trying to learn it and master it without being oh, let me watch a guide and go kill Awakener. So
are you still playing hardcore?
No, I gave up on it. But yeah, so I went into the fight, and I knew fighting him on the stairs wasn't going to be ideal, because there's that X and Y type deal where you're oh, maybe I try to throw my stuff at him, and it goes through the stairs, or it goes over the top of his head or something. So I knew it wouldn't be wise, but the fight was pushing me in that direction. But the part of the fight is he spawns this basically a maze on you, and you have to get out of the maze before he lands a meteor, which is interesting.
Damn, that's cool.
But the stairway railing stopped me from getting out of the maze. So I just straight up.
You're just fucked.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting there until the meteor comes down, and I fucking rip. So that was pretty frustrating, but yeah.
But that was softcore though, right?
Yeah, it's SSF softcore, but yeah.
Yeah. So when you die in softcore, your only penalty, you lose some experience.
You lose a lot of experience. And at level 90 plus, I mean, we're talking, I played for 8.5 hours on Monday night, and I got probably 16% XP, but I had died 8 times. So I probably would have leveled, but I didn't.
Deaths.
Right.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say you played 8 hours and 1 death wiped it out, and I was going to be
no.
Dude,
but I mean,
that's insane.
It is insane. I mean, the higher you go, past
More
probably 96, 97. I believe from 99 to 100, it takes just as much XP as it took from 1 to 99. So if you were to die at level 99, you basically just canceled out your whole week probably. I don't even know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I've never gotten 100.
That seems cool. My problem with games that make you get body parts, and I've always thought this, so let's say I'm playing PoE and I need an eyeball. Why can't you just be careful and not hit him in the eyeball? You know what I mean?
Preserve the eye.
Yeah, that's, you know what I mean? There should be a way that you could target a body part, but then you have to, there's a penalty to it. Okay, if you're going to target the body part, then your attack speed goes down 70% or some shit. Something silly, but you're okay, now you're being careful, so you attack slower, or you know, your cautiousness means you can't crit, or you know what I mean,
Sure.
something.
One of the things that was interesting in Lost Ark is like it's like you fight like a Scorpion Guardian, like if you phase him at some point, like you knock him down, and then you could cut off his tail to make the fight like easier on you, but like you wouldn't get the tail loot per se, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's like dynamic loot within the encounter. But you know what else I thought? You remember when we had David Brevik on?
Yeah.
And he said like one of the things they got rid of. One of the things that he mentioned in Diablo 2 that like he really liked, but people didn't take to, was like the body parts. Like you would go around,
like skinning somebody's ear when you killed them.
Like you would walk around in Diablo 2, and the mobs and the minions would drop like body parts, and then you'd have just like this inventory full of body parts, and they ended up scrapping it because like people were like, well, this is it's kind of gross to just have an inventory full of body parts.
Not
but
if you're a necro, dude.
It was like crazy inventory management. But then, I thought like, okay, so they had Brevik out. They flew Brevik out for ExileCon. So I can't help but think that this is kind of like a nod of the hat maybe to Brevik.
You think of maybe his idea or something?
Yeah, because it's like, well, you like this body part thing. Now in PoE for this league, like you pick up body parts and you create a dude or whatever. I thought that was maybe a thing, tinfoil hat.
I got it. GGG watches the podcast.
Of course.
And when Brevik said that on the podcast, we gave him the inspiration for this season. It's ours. Thank you. You're welcome, guys.
Yeah.
True. It's facts.
If only Diablo would listen to us.
Man. Let's see. What else we got?
That's it as far as the schedule goes.
It's pretty cool. All right.
Let's fluff hates if we want. Did you want to take this fluff hates or?
I mean, yeah, in this episode of Fluff Hates, Fluff hates the medical system and doctors.
Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, okay. So there's always
I'm with you on this right now.
The medical field isn't immune to the pitfalls of every other field, right? So in our field, right, in information technology and engineering, there are so many people that have no fucking clue what's going on.
What they're doing.
Or they're posing, it's clearly an act, but when it gets down, when the tough gets going, they're dumb. They don't know what they're talking about, or they're just not that good, or they're just slow,
lazy.
Or they're lazy. Yeah, all the things.
Yeah. So
what makes doctors any different? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Except for it costs you a lot of money. Like this dude, my copay on this was $40. I don't know what he got from the insurance company. But this guy basically made 30 or $300 or more to tell me, hold your hands out like this, close your eyes, sit there for a couple seconds, walk in a straight line with your eyes closed. And then he took my blood pressure, checked my heart, and was like, nope, you're good. Call me in a week if you're not better. Okay. I get that some problems you just don't know the answers to, but I'm like, dude, there are things that I found out after I asked and told another doctor, she said, you didn't do this or this or this or this.
Right.
I'm like, nope. And they're like, oh, their response was like, oh, you know what I mean? I'm like, fuck, man, just got swindled, dude. So I want to just call him up and be like, yeah, can I get my $40 back, you asshole? That's all I care about.
Sure. But yeah, it's just, I mean, it's crazy. If you ever read Black Box Thinking?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Well, it's a pretty fascinating book that kind of goes into how the medical system is still kind of like the Wild West compared to aviation, where it's we see plane, when you get on a plane, they don't feel very modern. They don't feel very
right.
But it's because there's so much rule and regulation for something technology wise to make it onto the planes that we fly every day, because it's so locked down and there's so much procedure in place, and the medical system barely does any of that. So it's pretty terrifying at the end of the day. Did you pass
doctor school? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. And it went into so sometimes in critical moments, you lose concept of time. This guy he was putting his anesthesiologist, and he was putting this woman under, and she wasn't breathing, and the nurse was behind him, and she was like, okay, I think it's time to do the trach, right? Where you just cut a hole in their throat so they can get oxygen. And he just had no concept of time, and he's still trying to get it, still trying to get it, still trying to get it, and she just fucking died because in the heat of the moment, like there was no system in place to be like remind the doctors like, hey, time's fucking up. Jam this thing in this girl's throat to make her breathe. Like there was just nothing in place. And so like that shit's fucking just terrifying.
It's crazy. Like I said, I didn't have for my scenario that I had this last week. I don't have the answers either. I really feel like this guy that I saw would like didn't give a fuck. Like he didn't care. He was like, yep, you're not gonna die, dude. Just get out. Like, you know, I don't know. And then the emergency room was pissed. They're like, did you go to a doctor? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, what the fuck? Why didn't he find, you know, he should have found this.
That's fucking crazy.
Like, they're like, what doctor did you go to? I'm like, this guy. They're like, okay.
So what do they do? Like, are they gonna like drain your brain? Like, I don't understand. How are you getting the fluid out?
It's like fluid that's like all connected through your sinuses and nasal cavity.
So how are you getting it out?
They give me antibiotics and then the infection goes away, and then I take Zyrtec, but it'll just naturally be absorbed or like get out of my body.
Okay.
Once the illness is gone. Okay. But yeah, it's just in places it's not supposed to be. Like it's like been there for so long, so much pressure. That's what's giving me these crazy headaches and shit.
Wow, dude.
But he's like this is totally not gonna kill you. Like you're fine. So I'm like, okay, cool. You know.
Damn.
Nuts, dude. It was insane. I was pretty nervous though when my body went numb. Like I was like, I'm dead.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I'm gonna
That's
die.
fucking terrible. I mean, good on you, because like, you know, there's been probably a lot of moments in my life where I'm like I don't feel right, like, and I just like, fuck it, I'll just like go to sleep or something.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
And as you get older, like, that's fucking dangerous to do that shit. Like, you should not do that. And it just sucks. It's weird. Yeah, you sucks. You're like, I don't want to go spend money, and I don't want to inconvenience myself, but. Shit, man.
I'm sitting here thinking like, well, I just spent $800. I don't even know what it cost me. They're gonna like send me a bill, I assume. Mm-hmm. But it's like I'm gonna assume like, you know, I had an MRI, my knee it up, and that cost me like almost $500. So I'm thinking at best case it's gonna be like $500. Worst case it'll be like $800. But I'm like, I just spent $800 because I had a sinus infection. You know what I'm saying? Basically, a crazy one. So it's just like, fuck, man, that's a lot of money. You could spend that on things, bills, car payments, mortgages,
microtransactions.
Yeah, you know, you buy all those. Oh wait, we don't have any. Yeah. I guess I could buy more PoE stuff even though I don't play it.
There you go. You're gonna play it. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
This league.
This league?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Calling it.
All right. How about we call some Twitter questions?
Okay.
So the first one comes from Mr. Major says, what do you do for physical activity, if any, to offset the time spent gaming?
It's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you know, honestly, when the Diablo season gets more dead, it's better for my health. If I'm super like right now, I'm like super into PoE. I'm super addicted, and so like I'm working, you know, my 8 to 10 hour day. I'm coming home and I'm streaming like 8.5 hours, going to bed at like 2 a.m., going to work at like 6 a.m. Like it's terrible. Like I'm literally killing myself, but I can't stop. So like, but at times where it's more chill, which is better for my health. Yeah, I'll work out on lunch. I do like some workouts. I do like cardio and the weightlifting and stuff. And, you know, honestly, I should do more yoga. Like I met this dude, I was doing this like motorcycle class, and he was like 80 years old and he's still riding like dirt roads, like dirt biking. And I was like, man, like, how do you, he's like, dumb fucking yoga is what he said. He's like, dumb fucking yoga. Gotta do it, man. I was like, all right, shit.
Interesting. I've never done yoga in my life. I always thought it was, you know, more of a mental game than a physical game.
No, man. Like the nerves and I don't know. I will say the best shape I've ever been in my life was I was doing yoga as well at the time. And the minute that I stopped doing yoga, like 3 weeks later, I tore my shoulder and like completely fucked myself.
Oh, that sucks. That's not good. I played basketball in high school, a little bit in college. I'm a huge basketball fan, basketball nut. So I like to go play basketball. I will say the last couple of years, I've really stopped doing it very much anymore now. And I probably because of streaming, like streaming eats up any spare time I have for the most part, because if I'm not streaming, I'm working on my setup. I'm not working on my setup, then maybe I'll make a YouTube video if I get time. So, or just make up the time I spend streaming with my wife and kids and stuff. But I love basketball. And then for a while last year, I was doing the before BlizzCon last year. Actually, I lost a lot of weight just working out every day at lunch.
Yeah.
But I need to get back on that. So,
Same.
it's just one of those things. Streaming is really bad for your weight and health. I feel like it's if you have a day job and then you stream a lot too, and then like Fluff said, man, when new games come out, I get so addicted. I'm just like, I don't want to go to sleep. I'll get 4 hours of sleep because I stay up way too late, 2 extra hours playing the game. So, and you go to work and you're like, are you okay? Like, oh.
Yeah, totes, man.
I just feel like, oh man, I'm not feeling good today. I think I got a cold or something.
Shit.
Like, damn, you got cold every day. Demonic Grizz says, excluding Diablo. I'm sorry, that's last week. My bad. Key Ray says, how did your New Year's celebrations differ this year from childhood and young adult life?
Well, I went to Shanghai. My parents don't really travel outside the U.S. They're not big fans of traveling outside the U.S. So it wasn't until I was an adult that I got outside the U.S. So it was totally different. Like we would used to just, I don't know what you guys did growing up, but we would just like gather around the television and watch like, the New York ball drop.
Yeah.
I think once I got like champagne, I was like 11 or 12 and I thought that was pretty pog. But
as a kid, we did the same thing. We would honestly, man, I don't remember them too much as a kid. I really don't start remembering them until like high school, because that's when I actually got to like plan things with friends and stuff. But I do remember one year doing the same thing, just like gathering around the TV, and then everybody's in the living room and we're all like 3, 2, 1, yay, And then I remember like as a freshman was like kind of the first time me and all my friends kind of had this party, and we had like a legit party where we invited a bunch of girls over and a bunch of people. So we had like 30, 40 people at my friend's house. I don't know how his mom talked his mom into that, but it was cool, man. We're doing kid stuff like, oh, I dare you to kiss this girl, shit like that. So.
Yeah, man. But now, like, how do you spend it now? Because it's for me,
it's different, man. So like before we had kids, my wife and I used to go out with other friends, and like we rented a hotel room downtown St. Louis and went to this big party at the hotel room. I personally didn't like that. She thought it was great. So because I don't drink, I'm not a drinker. And it's like a bunch of dancing and drinking, and it's like I don't really care about either of those things that much. Honestly, I'm not a big dancer either. So we did that. I did that kind of for her, and then we've done a casino thing once. But since we had kids, man, it's like you got to find somebody to babysit your kids on New Year's. Like nobody wants to do that. So we kind of just kick it at home. What we do, like I'll usually save fireworks from 4th of July, and sometimes we'll go out in the street and set them off. And then we buy the kids sparkling, and myself, because I don't drink either, but sparkling grape juice and like sparkling cider and like all those things. And so every person gets their own bottle. So they kind of, it's cool for them. You know, like, oh yeah, I got my bottle. So what about, Shanghai, pretty.
Yeah. My big thing
is
the
that
past
the thing like every year.
Yeah. The past like 6 years, I try to get out of the country for New Year's. It's tough sometimes because like it's really expensive to travel around like holidays. But, I just keep waiting for bad events to happen, like people getting trampled and then the prices go down.
Yeah. Is that why you went? Because the prices were dirt cheap?
Yeah. They were insanely cheap. Like it was about the same cost as it would take, for us to fly to like, I don't know, like Mexico. Like, really. It was like $350, $400 round trip.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
So did you
across the planet?
Did you fly like Spirit?
No, it's United. It was chill.
Who did I fly back from California? Man, I'll never fly that airline again.
You can't remember it, so I guess you'll fly them again.
No, I know. I'm gonna look it up before I got that thing. I don't even. Man, it was
like
it was
Frontier, wasn't it?
It might have been. I need to look that up. Man, that was the shittiest airline ever.
They're all the
like,
same. You just got unlucky.
no, dude, they had like plastic seats that was like no, like it was like a bucket seat. It wasn't like, you know what, a Southwest seat, like those blue nice padded seats. They're not nice.
Southwest is the worst. Actually, Southwest is my least favorite flight. I'd rather fly Spirit.
The worst because you haven't flown this company. I'm telling you, when I saw the seat, I'm like, are they fucking joking me right now? Like, it was like plastic, man. It was crazy. And like the tray table was like this wide, like, you know, you couldn't even fit I couldn't even get my iPad to stand up on it. I'm like, come on, dude. Yeah. So, what are we at? Onion says,
go ahead.
Oh, did you have more for the trips?
No, it's just, you know, definitely different than growing up, I guess.
Yeah. So where you been to China for New Year's? Where else did you? Let me ask this: do they celebrate differently than we do in the States, or is it pretty much the same? Like
totally. In China, like New Year's is, I mean, it's a tourist holiday, right? So China has their own New Year, which I hadn't really thought about that much until
I didn't realize that either until you said something. I'm like, yeah, they do, don't they? And
so I mean, like, it was banging. Like I got us passes to like a really nice club that has like a view of downtown Shanghai. We're like outside and, you know, drinking beer, champagne. It was fun. We were a little disappointed because like we expected there to be fireworks or at least like some kind of laser light show or something, and there really was nothing at all. Like they didn't do really anything different.
They have a countdown at least?
Like we were counting down out loud, but there was no like...
No display or TV or
display.
Like projector or anything cool.
Yeah, and then lights, like some lights like sparkled at midnight, but I don't know. I was expecting a little bit more. But I guess, again, they did the fireworks and the people died, so...
I don't remember that either. In China? What?
Yeah, that's why I was there. That was the whole reason I was there. Is because like so, fireworks went off.
That's what trampled the people?
So it caused people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because other fireworks were being shot off in like other places, and people thought they were gunshots. And then
that's what I thought it was gunshots. Yeah. I didn't realize.
Yeah,
I don't watch the news very often. To be honest.
Sure. But yeah, like Belize, I did. You know, and people always say like this.
What the hell is Belize?
Belize. It's, you know.
Belize.
Yeah, it's right. It's on the little, you know, where Mexico like kicks out, Central America. Yeah. It's right there at the thing. Okay. But people, it's funny because like I mentioned Belize, like when we were talking on one of the past podcasts where I was like, oh, everyone should travel and everyone should like experience and like see kind of like really rural areas. And I said like Belize, and people are like a megalo Belize, because people think Belize and they're like, oh, I stopped there on my cruise ship and I saw like this really fucking tourist city.
Yeah,
like the rest of Belize, where I motorbiked across Belize, like in the jungle, to like through the rainforest. Like that's the shit I'm talking about. But
yeah, I did that on a cruise once. We stopped in Cozumel.
Yeah,
and I walked out of the touristy section. I got too far. And have I told you this?
No.
Okay, so I'm on a cruise ship, and this is a long time ago. And when we got to Cozumel. And you know how the touristy spots are where they let you off. It's super fucking Americanized. Yeah. It's like, you know, everything's American. Everybody speaks English, and like, you know, it's flashy lights and shit. And it doesn't really look that much different. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like walking and stuff and looking at things. And as the further out you get, it gets a little crummier. And so there was like this graveyard that looked really cool from the outside. It had this big, like maybe a clay, in Mexico they use like clay for houses or something. I don't know. Sure. It was like a brick that we don't use, or clay, and it looked really cool. And I'm like, let's just like go through this real quick because it looks like it's had big tombs and stuff in it. I was like, I'm not gonna go in. I might just kind of want to see. So we start walking through it, and then we get to the other side. And as we go out the other side, there was a strip mall, and this strip mall is just like concrete, like pure unpainted concrete poured in what I would consider an ice cube tray. So if you took an ice cube tray and flipped it up on its side, and then like put a set of steps that go up to the upper level, it was just concrete ice cube tray.
Yeah.
No paint, no nothing, no screens, like no locks, no doors, no windows, no restrooms. Like it was just concrete in the middle of a place. And so I'm like, dude, I got to go through here. So I start walking through this, and then I kind of realize I'm like an easy foot taller than everybody else there.
Right.
And I'm only 6 foot. I'm not huge, but everybody was super short and little. And we're going through this. And then I look over to my left, and there's a lady holding a chicken down. and she just fucking chops his head off like right there. And I'm like, oh my God.
You're literally describing like every trip I go on.
Yeah. And so I'm like going through this, and you know, there's like a lady selling dresses, and everybody's like just looking at me, right?
Sure.
You know, because I'm like, what are you doing here, tourist? Is the look I was getting.
Sure.
And so a couple guys were actually like kind of giving me stank eye, and I'm like, let's get the fuck out of here, man. I'm gonna disappear, you know. So I was genuinely a little nervous when I saw those guys staring at me, because I was like, that's not a pleasant look, you know. It's like, get the fuck out of here look. So I'm like, all right, dudes, peace.
Yeah.
And then I booked ass back to the touristy spot. So through the graveyard. I'm sure going into a foreign country's graveyard is a really smart idea, you know.
I'm sure you're like it's, you know, people misread, right? Like, so I'm sure like a lot of those guys were probably like, what the fuck is this guy doing here? But wasn't it like, oh, what's the fuck this guy doing here? Like, let's go fucking jack his shit. Probably. Honestly, I've been in some back ass country places all across the planet. I've never felt more in danger than I do in the United States. 100%. Really? Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you go to the wrong spots in the United States, I agree with that 100%.
Even just in the nice areas. Everybody's got a motherfucking gun. Anyone can open fire at any time. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, chaos. That's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I don't know, man. It was definitely it was an experience that I'm glad I have, because I don't think Americans realize, like, even if you're poor, like, you don't really know what poor is.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Like you might think you're poor in American standards, and it sucks, no doubt.
Yeah.
But you're not poor, dude. You know.
Sure.
So it's crazy.
Yeah, man. And like seeing that kind of shit like really helps you appreciate the shit that you have.
Oh yeah. I'm with you. I'm definitely with you.
Yeah.
Let's see, what do we have? Onion said, if the competitive side of Diablo 4 was mainly focused, would you be upset?
Your mic cut out. What'd you say?
Oh, I said if the competitive side of Diablo 4 was mainly PvP focused, would you be upset?
I mean, it kind of sounds like that's the road they're already going down, because when we were asked about leaderboards, they're like, well, you know, only 1% of the people use them, and there be leaderboards, but as you know them right now, like, no, not even close. Like some like achievement leaderboard or some bullshit. So I mean, I'd probably be okay. I mean, if it was good.
He says, would you be upset if it was PvP focused? So no, you wouldn't.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I like PvP. I gravitate towards it in every game I play. Like if it has it in there, I love to do it. So I would say probably not, unless it's just not fun. And if it's not fun and they focused on it, then, you know, game's gone anyways. But no, if Diablo 4's PvP is phenomenal, then I would be super happy with that being considered a huge part of the end game. Because every game is going to be different, hopefully.
There's still that concern that, you know, we talked about week after week, and people are still on the fence, but, you know, throttling how much PvE content we get because PvP is such a thing, I can't see how it's not going to be a problem.
Okay, so how do you feel about throttling in general first, I guess? So like, and here's the example. Our Destiny, World of Warcraft, Division, like every, you know, major title that I've played recently throttles their content. Like a new season or new expansion comes out, and I'll use Destiny for example. So like the first week they'll give you like, you know, some new quests, and then the second week they might give you a new exotic weapon, and then the third week. So like, how do you feel about time gating content, staggering content to so players can't consume all of it in one day and then be like, well, that was fun?
No, I mean, I definitely don't like that. That's not what I was talking about, but I definitely don't like that.
So maybe I mistook what you were saying.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is like throttling the amount of PvE content we can possibly get, because it all has to be balanced around PvP.
Oh, yeah. I think balancing PvP in Diablo 4 is going to be ridiculously hard.
Yeah.
I just don't, unless they completely separate PvE and PvE, or PvE and PvP. And I don't see the problem in that. I don't see the problem with, if you want a PvP, we have PvP sets of gear right here. Equip these. We have PvP talents right here. Put these on. We have, I think for skills, you got to figure out a way to make them work, right?
Yeah.
But then PvE talents, PvE gear. That's who cares? Like, I don't understand why that bothers people.
Dump content at the PvE and don't even like you do the PvE playstyle where it's like we're gonna try to balance to the best of our ability, but ultimately our number one goal is to get insane amounts of content to you. And so like whatever happens, like here you go. You know, like but you get so much of it that it like you're okay with it. Yeah. Whereas like if you have to,
I'm fine with that.
You know,
like if I want a weapon, a legendary weapon, and it's got some crazy exotic power, I want to use that in PvE and just smash it and be like, God, this is so fun. And then in PvP, you got to expect that not to work. Yeah. Like, that's okay. I think people, if that's the standard from day one, it won't be an issue at all. People will accept the fact that PvE has its own talents and gear, PvP has its own talents and gear. Boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, I'm going to go back to, I can't help but think that a battle royale where all the stuff you see that's balanced for PvP and
it works in an ARPG. Like, as much as this sounds like a fucking troll, it's not. Yeah. You could set characters in the battle royale butt ass naked. Mm-hmm. They have to smash crates, smash boxes, kill other players.
That's balanced for PvP. Yeah.
Yeah, they get the PvP loot, PvP talents. You go into a game, Fluff's on one side, I'm on the other. At the I find him, I kill him, I take all his loot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh shit, Fluff had like half a necro set, baller. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's like,
it would be
fun. Yeah, it would be so fun. And it sounds like, I know Fortnite is like
a meme.
Fortnite is so like, oh my god,
there goes chat.
No,
there goes chat.
Yeah. But I'm telling you,
it would work.
It would be fun.
Open your mind.
Just forget about Fortnite. It's okay.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So the next question we have comes from Demonic. He says, do you think that the D3 team is going to be able to give us enough to hold us until D4 drops?
I mean,
I'll let you take that first.
I mean, I think that's been pretty evident, for the past year. Like, even when they kind of try to add, quote unquote content to the game, the seasonal themes, like, they're fun and they have that, I think 1 week to 4 week longevity. But I think what's the problem is, I think it's becoming more and more prevalent to people is as much as you try to put a new dress on, the same chick, like, she's at the end of the day, like, if you didn't like her to begin with, doesn't matter how good she looks that night. Like, when you get past it, like, you just know.
Yeah, I use this analogy a lot with a lot of things, but it's like, steak is phenomenal, right?
Sure.
Everybody loves steak. If you eat steak every meal, 3 meals a day for 2 years, how fucking good does that hot dog look? It looks phenomenal. Like, you're going to see that hot dog and be like, I'll trade you my steak for your hot dog.
True.
And that's just the way it goes, man. Yeah. So it's not me shitting on Diablo 3. No. It's a great game. It's just, we've been eating Diablo 3 for 6 years plus. So it's hard to keep focused on it and keep that desire to play. I see all these new flavors coming out, and it's like, you got to try them, know? So, the last question we have comes from Cole Smash. He says, what is Fluff's favorite troll song that people request on stream?
I mean, a favorite troll song? Like, how can you even...
What's the most common troll song?
I mean, it's Rebecca Black Friday is the most common troll song. The fucking worst song in the world. Have you not heard it?
What's the zombie one? In my head or something. Oh. The chick that died, we're going to write the song or record. I don't know.
What's her name? Lance Morrison?
No, it wasn't. Somebody else redid it recently, I think.
Oh, shit.
And when that came out, like, that shit was getting played in my stream like every hour. And that was like part of the reason I don't song request anymore. Yeah, it was somebody. It was Zombies, the name of the song. Yeah, I don't remember who was singing it, but it was a lady.
Gross.
Yeah, I'm like, nope, I can't take this shit anymore.
Yeah, I actually just recently increased the cost of song requests because like
Mhm.
I would literally have people that just farm, like they wouldn't even watch a stream. They literally just would like enter my stream,
Farm stuff.
go AFK, farm the juice, and then like come to the keyboard and then laugh for like 2 minutes because I'm like freaking out about the song, and then they would leave again for like 5 hours. So it's like, fuck this shit, I can't take it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I stopped doing it a while back. It's just
Now it's expensive.
it became a distraction. So, and I was just like, when it became not fun and it was just something I had to deal with, I'm like, why am I? So I stopped.
Right.
So, but anyways, that's it, guys. That's all the questions we had
Easy.
this week. If you guys want to ask questions on the podcast, you can submit them at ThaPChild or at Lord__Fluffy, or join our Discords.
Yeah.
If you want to see more of me, I'm at ThaPChild everywhere.
Yep. And I'm Lord_Fluffy. Double those underscores on the Twitter. We'll see you guys next week, unless ThaPChild's dead.
Unless I croak.
Unless he's dead.
What if
All right.
I actually died, dude? You know what I mean?
What a way to go.
If
You know?
I died and you still did a podcast next to somebody else, I'd haunt the shit out of you. I'd be like, listen.
I'll take 1 week off, okay?
Fluff
God.
Smoke Machine would catch on fire every 5 minutes. He's like, it's not even plugged in, and it's still catching on fire. So,
I was
all
sure.
right, guys.
Bacon. What? Who's there?
I know.
All right.
Man. It's always bacon. Peace.
Peace out, dudes.